Hello, boys and girls. My name is Brianóg Brady Dawson, and you might know my little rascal, Danny. Would you like to hear a story about him? This story is called Danny Brown and the Daft Dog. And that's Danny's dog, Keno. This is Danny's grandpa. And this is Danny's little sister, Susie. Grandpa was taking everybody for a walk in the park. So Mum gave Susie her little hat with the pink bubble. Keno had no hat. It's cold for animals, said Grandpa. Walk quickly, Danny. Keep up, or you might die from the cold. Oh, said Danny. I hope Keno doesn't die from the cold. And then Danny asked Grandpa, how do animals keep warm in the winter? Some animals grow thick woolly coats, said Grandpa. Poor Keno has no coat, thought Danny. And hedgehogs hibernate, said Grandpa. Do you know what that means, Danny? Danny wasn't sure. It means to go hyper, he said. Oh, Grandpa got a good laugh there. Suddenly a little grey squirrel ran along the path. The squirrel is gathering nuts, Grandpa said. They gather nuts for the long winter days. Then they came to the lake and the water was frozen and the little ducks were on the icy water. Oh, icy bottoms, thought Danny. Their little bottoms must be frozen. They threw bread to the ducks. And Susie's bubble was moving up and down. She was so happy. Thought Danny. Susie has a hat and Keno has no hat. I know what I'll do. And he took Susie's hat and he put it on Keno. Well, Susie was not very happy, so she cried, "Wah!" So Danny gave her some bread out of Grandpa's pocket. But Keno snatched the bread and he ran round and round the park and the hat flew off and went up into a tree and Grandpa had to get a stick and knock it down. Oh, the hat was very dirty, but when they got home, nobody noticed. Granny was complaining. Oh, I'm so cold, she said. Why don't you hibernate? Said Danny. And Mum laughed and she said, no, Granny, look. I've just knitted you some lovely socks. Lovely pink bed socks. Oh, wonderful, said Granny. Every night my feet are like 2 lumps of ice. And Danny thought of poor Keno. His feet were going to be like 2 lumps of ice. And then he had an idea. So he took Susie's gloves and he put them on Keno's front paws. We need something for the back paws too, Keno. And Danny took Granny's socks and he put them on Keno's back paws. Now you should hibernate like the hedgehog, said Danny. And like the little squirrel, you should have lots of food for the winter. So Danny went to the cupboard and he got lots and lots of tins of dog food. And he took Keno upstairs and they went into the spare bedroom. And Danny put Keno to bed. Now go to sleep for the winter, he said. And then Danny went downstairs and everybody was watching television. And the weatherman said it was going to be very, very cold. Very cold, with icy roads. Mum had an idea. "Why don't you stay here?" she said to Granny and Grandpa. "You can sleep in the spare bedroom." "Oh, that's a great idea," said Granny. But Danny raced upstairs. "Oh no," he thought. He went into the spare bedroom. This is what he saw. There was food scattered all over the floor. The quilt was a mess. Keno was covered in dog food and he was chewing Granny's socks. "Oh no," said Danny, and then he heard Granny coming up the stairs. Oh, and then Mum and Dad came up the stairs. Danny didn't want to let them in. "Granny, it's too cold in there," he said. But Granny just lifted him out of her way, and she went into the room. Keno was in the room, and Danny peeped in. Granny was standing beside the bed, and her feet were covered in dog food, and she was pulling her bed socks out of Keno's mouth. Keno was very excited then. "Ruff, ruff," he barked, and he jumped at Granny, and then he lifted his leg, and Granny got all wet. "Oh dear," thought Danny, "I'm in trouble." "Danny," yelled Mum. "Danny," screeched Granny. "Danny," whispered Grandpa, and he opened the door. "Quick, in here to your own room," he said. "I think you should hibernate." So Danny went into his own room. He jumped on his bed. He pulled the quilt over his head. And he said, "I'll never do anything like this again. Never, never, never." But I think he will, don't you? Because Danny's just that kind of kid.